Hello, Paul Hamilton here from UTB. What we're going to endeavour to do today is basically create a Minecraft AR scene in Reality Composer as a USDZ file with a little behavior that allows me to tap on this little cube and we get a nice little kind of scrolling or spinning effect going through. Now, we're going to start by exporting, a Minecraft world from Minecraft into a GLB format or a file, and then we're going to use two applications. We're going to use Reality Converter and then Reality Composer to create.
So let's get started. We're going to press play, and I'm going to go to my worlds, and I've got a couple of different worlds here, but I'm going to go back and look for a specific world. So I'm going to get into lessons. The worlds that I'm actually looking for this type of activity are in creative mode, so it won't work in survivor mode. Love this Chinese Tang Dynasty by John Miller. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to create world. Now I only have to do a couple of things to get this as a GLB file going forward. The first thing I need to do is I really need to get down to ground level. So let me just go for a quick walk. And I'm just going to get down to kind of ground level. I reckon that'll do. I'm just going to look this direction. And then I'm going to bring up my E for inventory, and I'm going to search for a specific block, which is called a structure block. I'm going to grab that structure block, and I'm going to use it. It's the only block I'm going to use for this activity. And I'm going to place it somewhere in my world. It works best if it's on ground level because then we don't have variations in our offset, which I'll talk about in a minute. I'm going to right click on that, and you can see here it's got a preview, but it doesn't show me much of my world. So I'm going to expand my X out to 64. My Y, which is kind of like the height in that 3 dimensions, I'm going to go up to 16. And I'll do my Z, which is kind of the other way, opposite to the X, let's make that 64 too and try and get lots of the world. Now, I kind of like that. That's looking really great, but the problem is it hasn't gone down far enough. So if you think about Y going up, which is my green, if my offset will be the other way. So I'm going to do -4. See how that looks. Yeah, that's given me a little bit more depth. So that's looking pretty good as an overall model. So let's export that, shall we? We'll give it a name. I'm going to call it Tang AR project. And I'm going to go down the bottom of my left-hand window and press export. And that's basically it. I've exported this project onto my desktop as a GLB file. But unfortunately, GLB files don't work great. Well, they don't work at all coming into Reality Composer, so I need to use another app, and I need to show you what that is. So there's my Tang AR project here. You can see it's on my desktop here. So we've got this Tang AR project GLB file here. I've just opened up Reality Converter, which once again is a free application, and I'm just going to drag and drop that right onto the scene or the stage there. Just make that a little bit bigger so that you can see. As you can see here, it's actually brought it in beautifully. So I've got that sitting really, really well in regard to a 3D model. You can see all the different details. What's interesting up here is we've got our grid unit, which is 10 meters. So obviously that is quite big. We've got some other things we can do, by the way. We can kind of change environments and materials and add different things and properties. We can make this a little bit smaller, so we could actually go to inches and kind of make that a little bit smaller if possible. And we can do a range of different things. But what we're going to do basically is export. We won't get into the dimensions too much. We'll call this Tang AR project RC, ready for Reality Composer, and we'll save. And what that is doing is it's converting it from a GLB file into a USDZ file. So I'm going to close that and open up our AR application, which is Reality Composer. And so what I'll do is I'll just create a new project. And hopefully I can see at the top here is my Tang AR project RC. And all I need to do, hopefully, is drag that down. Now, the thing with dragging straight in like this is sometimes it goes into different places, but that's actually come in quite nicely. I'm going to make this bigger just so that you can see. It does help in regard to making that inches or centimeters instead of meters. It just does help a little bit here. I'm going to click on my model, which looks good, and I'm just going to scale it down. So if you haven't used it before, you can see I've got my properties there, and I'm just scaling it down a little bit so that I can see it, and I'm going to raise it up. So I can actually raise it up and down. Now, I'm not sure about other people, but my Reality Composer's got that kind of yucky little element to it at the moment. One thing that you can put on is the snapping, which the snapping is here. And that just gives you a little bit of indication of snapping onto the actual, you can see here, I'm getting close. I'm actually on the ground there, which is cool. And we can do a range of different things, but that's now in Reality Composer, and we can start to do some different things with it that we're used to. We can create some little applications. We might be able to, let's bring in a little object, and we'll see if we can, we might have a little cube here. That's looking good. I might raise that up. And why don't we create a little behavior? So I'm going to create a behavior where if we, let's say, let's make a custom behavior that when I tap this cube, so I'll hit the cube there and press done, what's going to happen is we're going to make my model spin. So it might spin just once, but it might take, let's do a slow turn. Here it says which ones are actually, well, I don't want that one to turn. I actually want my model to turn. So I'll press done and I'll press play. So now when I tap on that, I've got a nice little rotation, which should look good in regard to augmented reality. Why don't we have a look and see how that looks from an augmented reality point of view? Hopefully we don't get this yucky kind of black element there as well.
So it turned out pretty well in regard to coming out in AR. And so I basically shared it with an AR capable device like an iPhone or an iPad. And basically you can see as I touch that little cube there, we get that nice rotating effect. And to be honest, the sky's the limit, everyone, in regard to little behaviors, little tools that you can apply to your models to make them a little bit more interactive and a little bit more engaging. Paul Hamilton here, signing off.